Hey, how's it going, everybody? I want to make a video talking about all the games that I enjoyed in 2025. There's no particular order to this, just like last year's video, except the last one being my favorite game of the year. And yeah, just in general, wanted to talk about some games I enjoyed playing. To start off the list, in last year's video, I talked about playing a couple Sonic games that I really enjoyed. So continuing that trend to the beginning part of the year, I tried out Sonic X Shadow Generations on the PlayStation 5, which I liked a lot. I liked how it incorporated a lot of those levels from the older Sonic games, ones that I played in last year's video, like Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and then ones that I haven't tried out. So it was really fun. I liked how they do the 2D and 3D with classic and modern Sonic, which both play pretty differently but add some variety. I am really bad at Sonic games, so I died a lot, but it was still pretty fun. And I do like that if you are good at the game, just like in the classic Sonics, they have the different like routes. So there's like an upper and a lower level. So if you're bad, me, you go in the lower one and die a lot. But if you're really good at it, you can like soar through the or zoom through the levels, which is pretty cool. And then I played the Shadow portion of the game, Shadow Generations, which I really liked. I thought Shadow played pretty differently with his new abilities compared to Sonic, which is pretty cool. And I like the story aspect. I played this game like pretty soon after watching Sonic 3 last year, so I really liked how Shadow's story plays out both in the movie and in the game. So I really liked it. I thought it was really fun, and I would even be willing to replay it again on Switch 2 in the future. The next game I wanted to talk about was one that I played early in the year, WarioWare Get It Together for the Nintendo Switch. I haven't played a WarioWare game before, but I really liked this one. I like the arcadey minigame style that each of the minigames had. It reminded me a lot of those classic Wii games like Wii Party, Wii Play, and in this game, what helps a lot is as you play through it, you unlock different characters that have different play styles that, while simple, that are varied and they affect each mini game. So, like some of them where there's like a character where it just shoots, so it doesn't move at all, and there's like one that's constantly moving. So, depending on the mini game, one character over the other is more simple or more complex, and you have to finish the mini games at very short times, like a couple seconds. So it really adds the pressure, and as you get through like each of the stages, the mini games get faster and faster, which is pretty cool. So like it gives you a lot of pressure to try to like just spam the button or like click through and get through the mini games. So I really enjoyed it. It's a very short game, but I think it's one that is a blast to go through, and one that you can easily just go back and try to get that arcadey like high score, or try to do it without losing any lives, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm a WarioWare fan. The next game on my list is Cash Cow DX. It's by the same developer who did Donut Dodo last year, which was on my last year's list of games that I liked. And yeah, I really like its similar style to old Namco styled arcade games, which I think is really fun and has like the modern twist of it's pretty fast. So in this game, you're a cow and you collect cash, but you have to like go through the levels pretty quickly, and enemies are chasing you pretty quickly. In that essence, it kind of reminds me of Sonic. There's even like the Sonic loop that you go through, but it's really fun. I like, I'm really bad at it because it's quite difficult, but it's one that I could see myself like infinitely replaying, just like a Donut Dodo. So I'm a big fan of those like arcade Namco games, and this one really itches that vibe. The next game I wanted to talk about was on the 3DS. I played a Game Boy Classic Kirby Block Ball. Is actually a game that I played in little bursts throughout the year, and eventually finishing right before. And I thought it was pretty fun. I like so it's the breakout formula, but with a Kirby twist to it. So they add pretty cool things like Kirby's copy abilities as you get throughout the levels, and like there's a rock that'll like drop down, a twister that'll like twist through the blocks. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like how games like this that take like a classic game and add like a character, like the Mario games do it a lot. But in Kirby's case, they add like the boss fights, which I think are really cool. and mini games, which are a nice variation or diversion as you get lives. It's kind of difficult as it gets more to the end of it, so I the lives are very appreciated, and I had to use save states. I was playing on the 3DS, but yeah, it was pretty fun. I really like this Kirby variation. It does feel, because it's a Game Boy game, a little dated, but still a pretty fun game and one that I would recommend. A really cool game that I wanted to highlight was one that I played really late in the year, actually like a couple days ago, to be honest. But it's one that I'm really glad I got to before the end of the year. It's called Despelote. I played it on the Nintendo Switch. It was actually one that I heard about from like the game developer website, which I was interested, but I never actually got to play. But I'm really glad I did. It's one that is it's a slice of life game. I think that's the genre where you are kind of transported to Ecuador, and you have to like kind of take in the life and the experience of how Ecuador qualified for their very first World Cup and how it affects the country, and seeing through the eyes of like a younger child, which is kind of semi autobiographical to the actual developer of the game. It's a really cool experience to be able to like see that and like feel it as you hear like people around and all of that as you continue going through the game. It's pretty cool. And it especially resonates for me because my heritage is from Ecuador. I have family there. And I'm a really big soccer fan. I like follow the Ecuador national team as they go into like these games, like these World Cup games, and for this upcoming World Cup, I've been following all their games. So it's pretty impactful and it's pretty enjoyable to go through that experience and like learn more, because especially being the age that I am, I didn't get to experience or even like listen to their very first qualification. I just know the like aftermath. So like they've already qualified. I've seen them qualify for the Qatar World Cup and for this World Cup. So getting that like slice of life and like history and getting to kind of pseudo feel how the nation itself felt is a pretty unique and like magical experience, and I think this game does a really good job at that. So even outside of that aspect, I think it's a very unique game outside of the context of being like Ecuador and the World Cup. I think it's a unique game and as a really cool art style. I really like how they incorporate the elements of conversation and the world itself, like Ecuador itself, that they went to like Quito in the park and was recording there. So I think it's pretty cool, and I'm really glad I got to experience it. So the next two games I'm going to talk about are both within like kind of the same genre, but slightly different, which will make sense when I talk about them. They're both roguelikes. I'm not the biggest roguelike fan, but I really like these two games. The first of which was a game very praised in 2024 that I got to play this year, was Balatro. It's a roguelike, like kind of like poker game, card game, which is pretty fun. You get a new deck each time you play, and there's different challenges as you go up and up. And I really like the like cards, so it's like regular poker rules, but then there's like all these sorts of like joker cards or unique cards that you get that really like spice up things, and it feels really cool to like add to your deck or like use the money you get for each round to like increase or like the hands that you get or the different cards that you get within your deck, which I think is really cool. And once you get like a really powerful like card or joker or something like that, it just feels really cool, just racking up like a lot of points. But obviously, as like roguelikes go, once you like get up and up, it's like much more difficult. So even with like some of the more power, like I felt really overpowered at like some points, but then as the like number you need to advance goes up, is like kind of struggling to make a hand, or sometimes I wouldn't make the hand. So It was really cool. And then even starting over doesn't really feel too diminishing because there's so much variety in the cards that you can just try different styles, or like you get a new Joker that seems even more powerful than the one that you were playing with prior. So I think all of that does add to a game that feels like infinitely replayable. Like you can always start a new run, and I can absolutely see how people were saying it was like addicting in that nature, because you could always just start a new run, and then a new run takes like a long time to go through as you get like higher up in. So it's really fun, really addicting, and as a like an avid card game fan, I thought it was really fun. The other roguelike that I really liked this year was Star of Providence, which was published by videogamedunkey's Big Mode. This one was a fun experience because, unlike Balatro, which was card centric, this one was you're a spaceship and you have to like kind of shoot your way through different dungeons. And as you go along, you get different weapons, upgrades, and different enemies and bosses you encounter. What's really cool about this game is that just like how Balatro feels like a game that you can always like replay and go back to, this game feels similar in that essence, because you can always play like a new run and get different weapons or upgrades to your little ship. And because once you restart, you start anew. And there always feels like there's a new boss or something different once you get to the end of a dungeon. I die pretty early on, so like I start dungeon one a lot. But that one always has like a cool new boss at the end, and it feels different, or it feels like you can do something different. So um, I really like that. It seems like kind of like a boss fight each time, or like there's always going to be like another tougher boss, which is something that's pretty cool, because in games that I've really liked, even in those ones that have like difficult bosses like Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising, there is an end point. But with this game, it does feel like there's always going to be that like next boss and the next boss, which is a really cool feeling. So I really like Star of Providence. Just like Balatro, it feels like a game that I could always play, which is really cool, and never get like too I guess outgrown, because like in games like Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising, there is like a point where you're powerful enough to like go through the game pretty seamlessly. But since you're always restarting once you finish a run, you could always start anew, which is really cool. So this section of video, I'm going to talk about a bunch of platformers that I enjoyed throughout the year. Starting of which, Gunman Clive HD Collection on Nintendo Switch. It includes Gunman Clive 1 and 2 that were originally on 3DS, but I actually never got to play them there, so it was really cool to experience them on Switch. They are very fun, a little difficult type of game where you kind of shoot your way through each little level, which is short, but as I said, difficult because you don't have too much health, so you can die really quick if you don't, you know, avoid getting hit. So, but it's pretty fun. I really like the art style that they have for both of the games, and especially in Gunman Clive 2, where the levels can get quite complex and varied. There's like one that kind of reminds me of Star Fox 64, which is really cool. But yeah, it's pretty fun games. I would definitely recommend them. They're a bit difficult, but pretty fun. I would play them again. The next game that I enjoyed was Bzzzt, Bzzzt, which I played on Switch. It's where you control a little robot and you go through a bunch of different platforming levels. What I like about this game that it does really well is the platforming is both emphasized on some of my favorite elements of platformers, speed and collecting, where each level there's like a little timer in the corner, so, and the collectibles you get are like the coins, but you can like get both the timer and the coins within the same level, so it's really cool. Those time trial like times are pretty difficult to get, but it's really fun, and the levels go by pretty quick, which I enjoy. Another platformer I liked this year was Grapple Dogs. I first heard it on an Antdude video talking about it, but yeah, I'm glad I got to try it. The unique mechanic with Grapple Dogs is the grappling, which is pretty fun, and I really like how the levels hide their collectibles pretty well, like in pretty smart ways. Because playing a lot of platformers, you sometimes get the rhythm or the gist of if something's hidden in a certain way. But no, this one gave me a lot of surprises, or some levels that I got through without like finding all the collectibles pretty easily. So that's always pretty fun. I really like their visual style too, how they do the UI and the level design. And in levels, you can collect bonus levels, which are really cool. And there's time trials as well. So it seems like a well packed together game, which I enjoyed playing. And another platformer I played was Belle's Boomerang on Switch. This one is unique in the aspect you have Belle, and she can throw her boomerang as like a projectile to enemies. And as you go through, you can get different power ups. So one's like a little orange peach, and when you collect it, you can get that like Mario 2 style like pick up and throw, which is pretty nice. And then the other one, which is more unique, is it's like a blue, I think, mechanic, but you can turn Belle invisible, which allows you to control like a lion, which is really cool, or like things will like move. So I thought it was pretty fun. Another fun platform. I like the art style as well. It gives like that sort of retro Game Boy style art style, which is really cool. So the next platformer I wanted to talk about was Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which is a remake on the Switch of the old Game Boy Advance game, which I never got to play the original one, but I did like this one. This one gave me kind of similar feelings to Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, which I played on 3DS from the Virtual Console a little while ago, which I did like, and it has the similar movement style to this Mario versus Donkey Kong remake. So you get like the back flips, you can pick up objects, hammer and stuff. So it's really cool to see that in this game. What I like about it is the different levels have different mechanics as you go through, and some of the ones towards the end are pretty hard, but overall it's like a pretty fun game to go through, not too complex. So I'd call it more a casual type game, with the exception of a couple levels that I had to look up how to beat online. But yeah, I would say this one's a pretty good one. Not at the $60 price tag. I got it I think half off or something. I would probably get it for somewhere there, or if there's a sale. But if there is, it's a fun one to go through. Now for the next platform, we're going to move away from 2D and on to 3D platformers. And the next one I played was New Super Lucky's Tale on Switch. I played the original a few years ago, back when it was on Xbox Game Pass, when they had the $1 like for 3 months deal or something like that. And I really enjoyed it back then. I played like all the way through. Back then I was also like getting achievements, achievement hunting, and it was a pretty fun one to get. I don't think I got all, but I got most of them. So it was a fun game, and it was one I've been itching to replay, but I haven't gotten a chance to. So I was glad I was able to pick it up on Switch this year and replay through it. And yeah, it's still as fun as I remember. I like Lucky's ability that he can like jump and then dive under the ground, kind of dig and then pop back out. I really liked using that to give myself some leeway with platforming and fighting the enemies. And you can also like jump and do like a tail swag, which is pretty cool. And yeah, the levels are pretty fun as I remember. I like the variation that they do, where you have these like levels with a story behind it for 3D levels. Like you're gonna help the townsfolk. Like there's a bunch of worms in like one area that you help out, or you help out, I think like you kick sheep into like a little barn area, which is pretty cool. And then you also have the different 2D levels, which are more fast paced. Some of them are like auto scrolls that you just go through, but I like it. I like the objectives that each level has as you try to do like a couple things to get more of the books. So you have the different like lucky level or letters, which are reminiscent to like the Kong letters from Donkey Kong, or your standard collectible. But then you also have like other ones. So you have to like try to get 300 coins to get that one. And then there's usually like a secret page that's different between different levels. So, and alongside the just finishing the level main page. So I like that because it gives you variation and it allows you to explore the 3D levels and come back to them if for some reason you don't get a page. So that's pretty cool. I also like how they do different costumes and stuff that you can get for Lucky, which is always like a nice quirk of platformers that I like. And yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm really enjoyed the scenery where they have like the haunted house theme or the ghost theme kinda. That one's a really cool spooky theme that I like. And yeah, it was a pretty fun game to go back and replay. The next game I want to talk about is the big 3D platformer that came out this year, and one that I was really excited when it both was first announced and when it came out. Donkey Kong Bonanza for the Switch 2. This was developed by the Mario Odyssey team, which I loved Mario Odyssey, and I love like the games that they make as well, the other Mario games. And this one was a surprise because I didn't think that they were going to make like a 3D Donkey Kong game, but like a very welcome surprise. And you get a lot of the stylistic, so you can definitely tell it's the Mario Odyssey team because you get like the UI just like them. The way you go about the levels is very reminiscent of Mario Odyssey, where you have different collectibles that you can get, like the gold coins in Mario Odyssey, where you can get in this game just gold in general, and then different collectibles outside of that that you can exchange for Mario Odyssey of the coin, like the purple coins, I think that you get, that you can get like costumes. In this one, you get like fossils, which you have to explore, and you can get costumes for Donkey Kong and Pauline. So you can definitely tell it's Mario Odyssey team, but it's definitely different from Mario Odyssey because Donkey Kong in this game has his ability to like punch through things, and I really like it. I think it's a unique way to kind of differentiate but also expand on the Mario Odyssey idea, not just do like Mario Odyssey again, which I think is really cool for Donkey Kong, give his time to shine, you know. But there is a lot you can do, and they do with but they do with the punching mechanic where you can use it to destroy pretty much anything in the world. And it's really fun because you get like a lot of gold. So like in the beginning part of the area, I was like punching and it was a little nauseating to me because I was just destroying everything. So the camera was moving. But once you get in the open world, there's just so much terrain and like gold spurts out kinda. It's really cool and it makes you want to like collect it all, but at some point you just gotta like stop yourself, like, okay, I'm gonna go progress in the game. But that's cool. I like how they do the different kind of like upgrades that you can get. So as you collect bananas, you can like the upgrade tree and get more health, better like abilities and stuff, which is pretty cool. And then you also get, as you progress in the game, different Donkey Kong like Bananza abilities. So Donkey Kong can be like a zebra, he can be a snake, an elephant, and each of them has their own unique ability that you can use while it's like in while you have the Bananza ability. So that's another way that they added like a bunch of variety to it. And the levels themselves seem pretty cool. There's like, you know, the elemental ones that you get in different platformers, but there's also like unique ones, like the big particular ones, like the food world, which is really cool. You get like these, you're making like a Donkey Kong banana burger, and you have to like go through and see different like fries and all that stuff. So it's really fun. I like it. I like how they really pay homage to the other Donkey Kong games in style. There's like sections of the game that are like little challenge areas, and you have different battlings and different like objectives that you can do, and one of them is like the Donkey Kong Country level kind of 2D, which is really cool. I also like you can like explore, and in the rest areas where you can unlock and like save and just heal up again. They have like the Donkey Kong 64 rap playing. That's really cool. You can see Cranky, Ramby, uh, Diddy, and Dixie, which is it's just really cool to see so much love and put into the Donkey Kong game, and that doesn't even talk about the final ball. I won't spoil it, but that it's like a gauntlet. It's really cool, really fun, difficult. It's pretty difficult, but at least for me, it was difficult. But really fun. I really enjoy Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's one that, like Mario Odyssey, I think I'll find myself coming back to within like a couple years, and one that even just makes me want to play some older Donkey Kong games and Mario Odyssey as well, because I really like these types of games. It's the type of games that really make you feel justified. And when you get like a new system like the Switch with Mario Odyssey and the Switch 2 with Donkey Kong Bonanza. So highly recommend Donkey Kong Bonanza. The next game I want to highlight is a first for these types of videos. It's a mobile game. I usually don't highlight too much. Well, I actually usually don't play too much mobile games, but I really want to highlight because it did take a lot of my time this year, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is a game where you can like catch different Pokemon based on your location in the phone. It's one that was really popular in 2016 and one that I played when it first came out, and then have been on and off, but more honestly towards off than when playing it. But earlier this year, like going to different areas and like traveling a little bit, it was really fun to like get back into it and play. And within the area that I'm located in, there was like a little community that goes and does the like Pokemon events, like the raid hours and the calm days and the other big events like Gigantamaxes. And it was really cool to be able to not only participate in those types of things, but be with that community and play, then participate in the events. So that was a big reason that I was so heavily invested in Pokemon Go, because in the past I would just do the catching thing, but wouldn't be able to do raids and stuff because I thought they needed like a lot of people. But playing this year and going through like these types of things, uh, as you get like more Pokemon and you like upgrade them, you can do like duo some of the easier raids, but with like a small group you can do a good amount of stuff. So that was really fun. I really liked doing that and like upgrading and seeing my Pokemon get better. Like as you do like raid hours, you get like a couple legendary, sometimes shiny, sometimes good ones. So that's really cool. And then Gigantamaxes. As the beginning of the year, I didn't have any like Pokemon ready, but then I was like slowly investing into this and that in order to try to be able to like help out. So that aspect of it was really fun. I kind of got burnt out a lot at the end of the year because there's so many events, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done. But like I said, it's on and off for me, but it was really fun being able to play and get like pretty involved in it, almost like reminiscent of back in 2016. So Pokemon Go was a really fun game for me this year. Sort of sticking to the Pokemon theme, I played Pokemon Legends ZA on Switch 2 this year, and I haven't played Pokemon Legends Arceus, so I don't know exactly how it compares, and like, because I know some people say that one's a bit better than this one, or it's like a comparison point. But I really liked my time with Pokemon Legends ZA. I think that the new way they did a battling in this game is, and like catching, is really cool. It's like really fast paced because you have your character and you just kind of like go in the little wild and throw Pokeballs at stuff. And if you catch it, cool. If not, you do like a little battle. And I like this sort of pseudo like not sure if the comparison's correct, but like Final Fantasy, just click the buttons and attack when you get the attack meter ready for the different attacks is really cool and makes the battles go by pretty quick. I think as well in both the wild areas and the battle areas, it was pretty cool and complex to get like your Pokemon and fight different ones. Or those like in the wild area, there's like enraged Pokemon that are tougher, and those ones are pretty tough because not only they can wipe out your team, but you have to worry about the character as well, like your protagonist, and if they wipe you out. So that was pretty cool. And the big gimmick with this game was, you know, megas. So megas are different forms of Pokemon, which were in like the Kalos region on 3DS. And one that I liked the original mechanic, and they brought it back for this game, introducing like a bunch of new ones. So I like the addition of megas. Is something that I was kind of hoping for a bit, but and seeing it brought back to this game is really cool. But there is like some small minor quirks that I think it was what I was saying before about the battles in the battle areas. They have like these different battles. So like in the beginning part of the game, I would just kind of like go through each of them, and it would be kind of tough. But once you get like, you know, your mega and stuff, since the battle area people don't really use it too much or at all, it kind of can feel pretty easy just wiping or steamrolling a bunch of them. But that's just a small minor thing, and honestly it does like allow you to get more points quickly to get to the big battles in where people do use megas. So that part is a little bit, but I did like the megas. I liked how they approached them as these kind of like giant creatures that you need to tame, and then you go into this like little battle arena. They're like a boss fight pretty much. So you have to get your Pokemon and then get them to a mega form and try to like beat it up. And in this area, I was where you have to watch out for the player is important, because sometimes I would just try like the spam moves to kill it, but I would get wiped out because it would use like a move on me. So it was important not only to watch for your Pokemon, but like dodge and watch for your player as well. So that was really cool. I did like the battles with the in the story you have to like fight different characters, you know, like kind of like how they have the gym leaders, but in like challenges. So it's like a ranking system. You start at level Z and then you have to go your way all the way up to A. So that was really cool because I thought it was quite interesting going through these like promotion fights. It kind of felt a little reminiscent of Sword and Shield, where they had, it felt like in these gyms with this like the soccer fields, it felt like bigger than life a bit. This kind of felt a little similar with the challenges and going one-on-one with all these trainers. So I liked it. I liked the Pokemon they gave Megas to, and I definitely liked like the promotion and stuff where they had like Victory Bell and he's like in this like horror room and stuff. But yeah, I really had fun with Pokemon ZA. I'm excited to play the DLC. I didn't get to it this year, but I'm excited to play it. They put my favorite Pokemon, Chimecho. He's a Mega, so that's really cool. Unexpected, but really cool. And yeah, no, I'm happy with my time with Legend ZA. The penultimate game, so not the last game, but the almost last game on my list, is another Switch 2 big game of the year, Mario Kart World. This game I've heard divisive things on, so some people love it, some people less so. But I fall into the I like it a lot category. It's pretty fun, coming off of Mario Kart 8 on Wii U and then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch. And then the DLC that came out. I feel like I've gotten the full breadth and extent of Mario Kart 8 and its content. So Mario Kart World coming out with like a whole new art style, models for the characters, new courses that are like visually impressive, and the couple of different modes that they have was something that for me was a new breath of fresh air and something that I quite enjoyed a lot. the biggest highlight for me was Knockout Tour, which is a mode that as you get through the level or the laps, there's like a cutoff, so you have to be within the top 24, then the top 20, and 16, 8, 12, 4. And as you get towards those like lower numbers, it's really exciting and exhilarating trying to maintain the pace or keep up, because the way the CPU is with, I think, rubber banding, everyone's kind of like close together, so like a couple hits and you're all the way back in the pack. But and the positive part, if you get like a cool item like a gold mushroom or a bullet or something, you can like zoom your way back up, so it is quite intense towards those last like couple of laps where it's like 8 and 4 especially, and it does really feel like you could at the end win or lose by like a hair's margin, which is really exciting, and especially so when you're playing with other people and trying to like make sure they don't get to the cutoff point or like, you know, stuff like that. So that one was, to me, was a mode that I feel like is really exciting for this Mario Kart, and one that I think could give or be replayed at any moments. Like I'd always be down for like a knockout tour match or two. So that one was really exciting. The other big mode that was like advertised was the open world, the world of Mario Kart World. So it's like an open zone area where you get to like drive through, and then one cool thing that they bring back is the missions, or like little missions that you can there's like the P switch, you can drive over it, and then there's a short little challenge that you can do, and that's pretty fun. It gives like an incentive to drive around and do the little missions, but in general, it's really cool to kind of just drive around and listen to the really great soundtrack that Mario Kart World has, which encompasses the tracks and themes of both this game and just Mario history as a whole. You'll get like random tracks from like obscure Mario games that's just really cool, with like the jazz or the band that they have. So um that's another big highlight. But in general, the open world is not something that I see myself going like too much in. I think it's like a cool little gimmick, and I do think there's like a place for that type of stuff. But my favorite was the knockout tour, and going into the courses themselves. I did like the courses. I like how in the Grand Prix mode you get to see how it like transitions to different ones. So you'll start in one area, and then by the last course you'll like kind of interconnect and go from one to the next. That's a really cool way to like make it seem like the title implies, a world that you can just drive around. So that's really cool, and some of the courses are really fun to go through. I like in particular the Donkey Kong inspired one, where it's like you'll have Donkey Kong, almost like the arcade version, and then at the end you'll be like driving as Donkey Kong's throwing stuff at you. So it's just really fun. They're really creative and varied, which is nice. And in general, I like how they have a bunch of different characters. So it seems like they have all sorts of like Mario enemies, like the penguin, the snowman from Mario 64, the Wigglers, Boo, King Boo, and then you'll get like obscure ones like I was gonna say Goomba, but like that's not obscure. Like the bat from Mario, and you'll get like the cow. The cow's like the big one. But it's just really fun to like unlock new characters. The way they have the unlock, at least for the characters, is one that I'm not the biggest fan of, where it's like different item blocks, almost like a roulette system, where it'll like randomize and give you maybe a different one, probably not a different one as you get more. So that part's a little but I do like the shopping bag version of it, where they'll always be like a shopping bag somewhere, and you can just drive and collect it in as the character you are. You can get a new costume. So that one's pretty cool because it incentivizes you to play as the different characters. The other one less so, because there's not really that much of a chance. There's like some chance you get the item that you need to get a character maybe, but less so than just the shopping bag, which is in every stage. So that one's pretty cool. And in general, I did really like this Mario Kart. I didn't get to play online, so that's something that I hope to do next year. But as well, I really hope they have DLC and stuff added to this game, because I really feel like with what they have for this Mario Kart, it could be kind of like how Mario Kart 8 was, where they add a bunch of different stuff and it feels like this really grand multi-year experience. The price point is also a well, you know, something that's has to be discussed when you talk about Mario Kart 8, because it's $80 compared to you know, 60 or $70. And I don't know if it's $80 worth of material. I got it with the Switch too, so I got the little discount. But Mario Kart 8, I feel like or Mario Kart in general, is something that you could always go back to. So I feel like in the long run, you'll get like your $80 or $50 worth. But obviously, you could get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for a similar-ish price to Mario Kart World right now. So it would be a to each their own kind of thing. But I'm pretty happy with what I was able to experience and play with Mario Kart World, and would cautiously recommend it. So for the last game of the list, just like last year's, I wanted to put my favorite game, while the other numbers or the entries in this list aren't numbered like a tier list would be. This one I wanted to put for my favorite at the end, kind of like a nice way to wrap it up. And this year I really enjoyed Deltarune on this Switch too. I haven't played Undertale outside of watching videos online about it from like videogamedunkey or the game theorist Matt Pat, his theories on it. And it's been a game that I've been meaning to try to get to, and especially now that I've played Deltarune. But speaking of Deltarune itself, I really enjoyed everything about it. I enjoyed the characters and their interactions. It's like the humor behind it as well as like the more serious and story-driven moments behind the Deltarune and your character, and some of the more points that I won't get into for spoilers, but like the end chapters are always pretty interesting. So I really enjoyed all of that aspect. It has me hooked and really excited for hopefully soon the next chapters to come. And in general, I like the battle system as well, as especially as you get to chapter 3, which is my favorite of the chapters so far, with TV Time and Tenna as the character that hosts this TV show that you're going into. And the whole thing just feels like fun aesthetically, like the TV show. He'll have like different dialogue quirks and stuff that are fun to experience and funny as well. Some of them can be pretty funny. And the gameplay also switches up, so you'll get this like Legend of Zelda top-down dungeon crawler type thing, which is pretty cool. And then it'll have in the battle system, which is a standard RPG battle system, like turn-based and stuff. But what's unique about this chapter is that you'll have sort of like a Devil May Cry ranking system, so you'll have to try to get through them quick and without taking too much damage, so you get like a rank. The ranks don't really mean much outside of like a couple smaller things, but they're really fun to like try to get a good ranking in, kind of like Devil May Cry, which is one of my favorite games. And then later on, you'll have like a Guitar Hero-esque kind of little section, which is really cool. And just in general, I just really like going through the different battles in even the standard battles, like outside of the gameplay switches in chapter 3, you'll have each character will have their own like attack pattern, which is pretty unique and can be pretty quirky, which is cool. And it's just fun to try to move around and avoid the attacks. But also, if you get close to the attacks, you'll like raise your like a meter. I forget the acronym for it, but it's like a meter that lets you do magic and or different abilities that either you or Susie or Rouse can do. And it's fun to like plan out how you're gonna go about it, if you're gonna do like a group attack or group move, or if you're gonna have them like defend while you try to like pacify one or something like that. But it's like a lot of strategy that I like. I like as well that you can like explore a bit in the different areas and find different things, and you can interact when in the overview with different characters, like Sans from Undertale. It's one of the things I know. But yeah, it's really fun. It's really vibrant, the world, and just something that feels like it captures you. So it's definitely my favorite game of the year, one that had me hooked and trying to finish like as soon as I can. And obviously, with the cliffhangers, it gets me wanting to like go to that next chapter and hoping for the days to not be too long before the next. So, Deltarune is one that is my favorite game of the year, and I wholeheartedly recommend on any system. It doesn't have to be Switch 2, which was how I played it, but any system, I really enjoy Deltarune. And yeah, so that's my video on the games that I enjoyed for this year. A lot of games within similar types of genre, so hopefully next year I can try some new ones. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for the next year, seeing what comes out, what I get to play, and yeah, hopefully I have another cool video with a bunch of games to recommend. So thank you for watching and have a good one.